So this is going to be another movie review. This one's called Cannibal Apocalypse 1980, also known as Cannibals in the Streets, also known as Apocalypse Domani, literally Apocalypse Tomorrow, also known as Invasion of the Flesh Hunters, which is the crappy R-rated version that has the violent scenes cut out to the point where the music soundtrack is skipping. According to the bonus features, this disc has a lot of bonus features. I'm giving this one 5 out of 5 stars. Love this flick. I'm not a big fan of the director per se, but like Quentin Tarantino, I think this is his best work. Like what Quentin Tarantino said. There's the disc. I've seen Tiger Joe and Ark of the Sun God. I think those might be more popular with Adrian than they are with me. But anyways, there's deep cover. The second disc that I received this week, I've got Tuesday, July 4th off, so I'll be doing movie reviews on Tuesday, July 4th, Karate Man, if you're watching. It's too early for Karate Man. He's not in the chat room yet. There's The Perfect Weapon with Jeff Speakman. This one's kind of funky. It looks like some of the artwork is peeling off of it. The Perfect Weapon. You can still see Jeff Speakman's face, though. Cannibal Apocalypse. Like I said, the disc has tons of bonus features, interviews with the director. Tony King was also in this director's movies, Tiger Joe and Ark of the Sun God. Cannibal Apocalypse, Italian, Apocalypse Domani, which literally means Apocalypse Tomorrow, also known as Invasion of the Flesh Hunters. The rated R version, also known as Cannibals in the Streets, is a 1980 action horror film directed by Antonio Margheriti under the pseudonym Anthony M. Dawson. He also went under the name Anthony Daisies. But the people in the U.S. didn't like that name, so he started using Anthony M. Dawson. Daisy sounded homosexual, according to Mr. Margheriti. Starring John Saxon, Elizabeth Turner, Giovanni, Lombardo, Radice. He's also in the bonus features, but he can't speak very good English. I couldn't understand half of what he was saying. Something about Luci Fucci yelling at a bunch of other actors, but he never yelled at Giovanni. And he's sitting there smoking a cigarette, wondering why Quentin Tarantino doesn't call him for an acting role. Quentin Tarantino is a big fan of the actor and the director here. He even borrowed the idea of quoting from the Bible in Pulp Fiction. He borrowed it from Antonio Margheriti, one of his spaghetti westerns. Cinzia de Carolis. Is looking good at age 20. Italian actress. Can you actually see some pubic hair underneath her panties? Um, Too bad she didn't expose herself more. She was in Cat O' Nine Tails, 1971, as a very young. She was 11 years old in Cat O' Nine Tails. Tony King, I mentioned him. He was in Hell Up in Harlem. Tiger Joe, and what else? The Last Hunter, Tiger Joe, and The Last Hunter is Ark of the. Let's see, Ark of the Sun God on here. All right. And Ramiro Oliveros. The film combines the cannibal film genre with the forerunner of Margheriti's Vietnam War films. The film opens with a flashback to the Vietnam War where Norman Hopper is bitten by a U.S. POW, Charlie Bukowski, who is infected with a virus which leaves people with a craving for human flesh. Giovanni Lombardo Radice, who also has a U.S. named John Morgan, he said the script was ridiculous, but John Saxon was actually enamored by the script, partially because he couldn't read the Italian script. In Atlanta, Georgia, some years later, Hopper wakes up from a nightmare about this incident, and then he receives a phone call for Bukowski, who invites his old comrade out for a drink. The call comes in at an inopportune moment as a young neighbor girl, Mary, was trying to seduce him. So he turns down the invitation. Hopper falls for her charms. And they're about to engage in oral sex. He bites her. I wish they would have shown more on that scene, but it was just a tease. The Italian actress Cinzia de Carolis is very attractive at age 20, I must say. I like the movie poster. The movie poster is all in Italian. Apocalypse Domani. It says on the movie poster. After hearing from his concerned wife that a Vietnam vet barricaded himself in a mall, he gets into his car. Just as he is about to leave, Mary reveals that she enjoyed the bite. Oh. That sort of comes back at the end. It was unexpected ending, kind of a plot twist ending. After arriving on the scene, he convinces Bukowski to surrender to the police. While being hauled away to the hospital, Bukowski bites a police constable. After returning home, Hopper instructs his wife, Jane, to wait for him in the house, and he walks in front of Mary's window. Later, he admits to the incident and his wish to bite a fellow human to his wife. At the hospital, Bukowski and fellow Vietnam vet Tom get into a fight with the guards, and Bukowski bites the leg of a nurse, Helen. Dr. Mendez calls Jane and tells her that Norman might be experiencing the same symptoms and that she should bring him over to the hospital for a checkup. While he is listening in on the conversation after he leaves the house, the police get the coroner's report on the mall shootout, and it contains warnings of cannibalism. At the same time, Jane meets Dr. Mendez, who has been trying to seduce her before. They are at a fancy piano bar where he explains to her that the virus carries a biological mutation due to psychic alternation. Norman voluntarily goes to the hospital, and he talks to the doctor about his symptoms and his well-founded suspicions of Dr. Mendez's intentions with his wife. The doctor also takes a blood sample. At the police station, the bitten constable shoots a fellow cop, bites another cop, and ends up shot by Captain McCoy. Norman comes across his sedated fellow vets, Charlie and Tommy. He experiences a flashback to the initial incident where he got bit by the infected POW. The doctor gets attacked by Helen while inspecting Helen Hooper's. The doctor gets attacked by Helen while inspecting Hopper's blood samples. First, she bites off his tongue, and then she bashes his head in with a rock off camera. In the ambulance, the bitten cop gets aggressive before she dies. In the hospital, Helen frees Tommy and Charlie. Norman kills a staff member who tries to notify the authorities. Norman, Helen, Tom, and Charlie leave the hospital in an ambulance. Jane returns to an empty house, searches for Norman when the phone rings, and Dr. Mendez notifies her that Norman disappeared. The police are on high alert looking for the escapees. The escapees break into a tire shop, find a gun. Charlie uses an ankle grinder to slice up a victim. Another gross out scene. There are about 5 gross out scenes. And our bonus features Italian dude who can't speak English, Giovanni Lombardi Radice, John Morgan. He said that he hated working for Umberto Lenzi. He was in Cannibal Ferox. They wanted him to kill a pig or something, and he refused to do it. After that, he refused to work on another Cannibal Ferox type film where they try to make realistic violence, like a Mondo flick. Anyways, release dates August 4th, 1980, October 20 in Italy, October 27th, 1980 in Spain, running time 96 minutes. Distributed by Eurocop Films. Tom steals a station wagon, and the affected leave with a pistol and a bag of snacks, body parts from the garage. They don't show much in this movie, but the little bit that they show is kind of gross out. They get confronted by a biker gang that Charlie already fought at the mall. Killing one of their members, after defeating the gang, they run away on foot, and they escape into the sewer just as the police arrive on the scene. The police coordinate a blockade of the sewer exits in order to trap the suspects. At the Hopper residence, Jane is able to make a telephone call, and she goes next door to ask Mary's aunt to use the phone. Mary and her brother greet her, and they let her use the phone to call Dr. Mendez, but the aunt is nowhere to be seen. That comes back at the end, too. The children behave suspiciously, and they ask her how come her phone is not working, but they let her leave. Surprised they didn't do something else, but it would have spoiled the ending. In the sewer, Helen gets attacked by a rat just as the cannibal is about to slip away from the police. She ends up being shot With a cop, Charlie is killed by the police. While Norman is wounded, Tom goes berserk. He attacks the police and he is killed with a flamethrower. Even with a wounded leg, Norman crawls out of the sewer, steals a car. He steals a car and he leaves the scene. Jane tries to leave the house in her car, but she cannot start it. As she comes back in the house, she hears strange noises and she calls for Norman. She finds him in his dress uniform, telling her to stay away. Norman is hurt and dying, and Dr. Mendez walks into the house. Jane runs over to him, but he bites her as Norman shoots him. Jane points his gun at her own head, and 2 shots are heard just as the police arrive at the scene. Infected children watch as the bodies are being hauled away. Great ending. Good stuff. Highly recommended. Check it out. I posted the soundtrack music, the original trailer, as well as the Japanese teaser trailer. I posted all 3 links in the description. Filming took place in Atlanta and Decatur, Georgia. Locations include the Savannah College of Art and Design, CNN Center, and the Candler Discount Mall. Interiors were filmed at De Paulo Studios in Rome. Gianetto De Rossi was the special makeup effects designer. The opening Vietnam War sequence reused props and costumes from Antonio Margheriti's previous film, The Last Hunter, which starred David Warbeck and Tony King. Actor John Saxon had gotten a badly translated script in which the gory parts were left out. In a 2002 interview, Saxon explains, "It was talking about the Vietnam War like it was a virus you could bring home. I thought it was a great metaphor for a psychological condition." Saxon only learned what the movie was truly about during shooting, when they tried to get him to eat human body parts, including genitals, human genitals. He refused to do it. At one point where we're shooting a scene and a guy brings in a tray of meat, I asked what it was for, and they explained to me it was supposed to be body parts, even genitals, and we were supposed to gnaw on them. I asked Margheriti to take me out of the scene, and I went to my hotel room. Once I found out what the true nature of the film was, I got so depressed that I went to go see my mother because I was going through 2 divorces and I had 2 mortgages. Saxon contemplated leaving the production altogether. Cannibal Apocalypse was released theatrically in 1980. The film was released on DVD by Image Entertainment, which is a version that I watched. It's part of the Euroshock collection. On March 19th, 2002, on Blu-ray, Kino Lorber Studio Classics released a high-definition, brand-new 4K master version on March 17th, 2020. Patricia McCormick of Senses of Cinema critiqued, although the film has been maligned by critics who claim Margheriti disinherited his adeptness at the Gothic by meddling in the vulgar genre of high gore, the sympathies he evokes for perversion as it turns, tragic pathology, and strange alternative desire, the disdain with which he represents hyper-real examples of normal male sexuality, and the extraordinary versions of human flesh he presents out for our pleasure, a pleasure which compels us into a world of perversion and desire beyond the palatable, are all continued thematically, if not stylistically, in this film. Margheriti's use of Radice and gore brings him from the Gothic worlds of Baba and Frida into a subgenre more often associated with Fucci, Umberto Lenzi, and Diodato, yet he remains faithful to his perverse paradigms. Danny Shipka, author of Perverse Titillation, a book on exploitation films from Italy, Spain, and France, noted that the film's premise was both interesting and silly. We like interesting and silly things on this channel. And that the film contains enough blood and gore to make Eurocult fans happy, including some graphic flesh munching, a French kissing scene that will scare the hell out of you, and a shotgun blast that has to be seen to be believed. Online film database Alt Movie stated that the film will never be confused for high art, but Cannibal Apocalypse offers plenty of bizarre low-budget thrills for the Euro trash aficionados. And the highlight of the film was John Saxon noting that no matter how bizarre or sleazy the premise becomes, Saxon plays the material straight and delivers a serious, well-crafted performance that makes it possible to stick with the film's strange premise. Very well said. Very well said. I couldn't have said it better myself. So, cool flick. Highly recommended. Check it out. The owners are back from New York, and they're making all kinds of noise. You put up these silly signs all over the house that say house for sale, 1,625 square feet, call Michael, and then the phone number underneath. And they just yell at each other and pace around all day long. So I learned a new trick to take my little nappy poo. I just turn on the rain and thunder YouTube video when I'm napping, and it kind of drowns out the noise. Anyways, yeah. So they're going to be here for a month. Supposedly they're trying to finalize the sale, but it looks like they don't have any leads at the moment. Kind of like last year when they were doing the same things. It must be hard to sell a house nowadays. Nobody can afford to pay the mortgage with the interest rate so high. This is my new sleep tool on YouTube. It says sleep fast with pure nature rain and incredible present thunder sounds. This is my new way sheet. On sleeping. Yeah. There it is. I can sleep with this on. I can't sleep with people constantly yelling and pacing upstairs. I thought I was going to go nuts, like I had to buy earplugs or something. But this would put me to sleep for like 45 minutes straight. This right here. Later.